All right. That does set a mood. Isn't it funny?
I like it.
If you were like angry coming into this, you'd just be like, all right, I'm going to relax now. Saturday morning, we're back. Got some people tuning in. Hunter Smith, look at this. I like it. Litecoin Radio. I've always felt like a radio show. I got told that a lot when I first started doing this, that I sound like I've been on the radio before. I was like, I don't know. It helped. I gotta say, little compliments help a lot. So make you feel confident about getting on a camera or on a stage or something. But we're gonna hit a number of things today. At about a half hour, we're gonna have Paul Puey in here from Edge Wallet, which I know, contradicts the fact we're sponsored by Cake Wallet, but I know Vic at Cake wouldn't mind us talking about tools you can use. So I think we're gonna do a little bit of navigation of the Edge Wallet. I was messing around with it this morning. I'll be honest, I hadn't used Edge Wallet before, but what's cool is you can access Thorchain in there, so you can stake your coins. I would guess something like that is coming to Cake Wallet as well. They always like adding new things as well, so it should be cool. And I think we're talking a little bit about Wrapped Litecoin. It's out there, but it's certainly very, very much in the beginning stages, so that should be interesting. Yeah. Okay. Animal, how are you doing? Pretty good. You said you're sick today, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm feeling better today. I had a pretty bad flu yesterday, fever and everything. But yeah, so excuse the hoarseness of my voice. But yeah, doing well. The whole Wrapped Litecoin thing is really something interesting to me. I feel like it's something we've been needing, perhaps, just to get more liquidity or more people access to Litecoin via Ethereum. And if you look at Wrapped Bitcoin and how successful it is and how much liquidity is locked in there, you can see why. Huge opportunities for growth wrapping it on Ethereum. But yeah, I think it's been an interesting week, I think.
I think last bull market, that was a sector of crypto that Litecoin completely missed out on. And that helped. I think that was part of the narrative of like why Litecoin wasn't part of the major conversation, because a lot of people never even touched these like UTXO chains. They worked strictly on Ethereum.
All they had was MetaMask. Yeah.
Yep. So just not having that. And I do know that Uniswap, you are able to swap into Wrapped Litecoin. So maybe we'll try and do that today. I'll throw a couple Litecoin at it, see what happens, or a couple dollars worth of Litecoin. But yeah, so maybe we'll try and do a little demo of that in a little bit.
That'd be cool. That's one thing that there was an interview that Why Litecoin did with Charlie yesterday. And that's one thing Charlie really wanted, was to get more Litecoiners to wrap their Litecoin, to add liquidity.
Right.
And yeah, if we can help people do that, it'd be a win for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know where it's at right now. I almost don't even want to look. I know. I looked at like the day after it launched, and there were like 10 Litecoin in there, which makes sense. I mean, it's going to take some time, but it's on which exchange is that? That Gingy owns? CoinNut. So that's over in Singapore, I believe.
Yeah.
And again, if you haven't been around Litecoin for a long time, in the 2017 run, Asia was a big Litecoin loving part of the world.
I can't even log on to this, unfortunately.
Oh, CoinNut, yeah. Oh, you're in Canada.
Yeah.
I think even I had to, I don't know if you had to change there was some sort of unique rule that you couldn't access it. But that's why I think something like Uniswap is probably the best way to get Wrapped Litecoin today. So I kind of want to go in blind. Maybe it won't work today, but it is very new. So that's what I would look at it as, and we'll just encourage you to add some in there. We're going to obviously talk a little bit about the Roger Ver interview this week that went down on Tucker Carlson. Certainly the talk of, I would say, crypto Twitter there were two things this week: Roger Ver interview, and then quantum computing was another point of conversation that I thought was interesting. But before we get into that, I do want to bring something up, a couple things that came out this week if they impact me personally, then that to me is more important than anything else. No, we had spaces on Wednesday night, and we had someone come in who, I don't like to always just out people on here. You can go listen to it if you want, but who's been in the crypto space a long time, has been in our spaces in the past, and they talked about. I would say it was like Bitcoin conspiracy theory night, because he had all these thoughts on like why there's so much vitriol towards Roger Ver, and one of them was about coins that have been kind of artificially locked up. And I don't know, it's one of those things. Sometimes you can go through your whole life and just think you're looking at something from every angle, and then somebody points something out and you go, oh my God, that never even like clicked with me as to why that was. And one of the things he was talking about was these old Bitcoin addresses. He's saying, why do you think, because what his claim was is there were some changes made by Blockstream that eliminated certain scripting. You got to help me with this one. Types of script in the address or in the transaction signing process. Is that right?
Right. So he was talking about Rusty Russell's great script restoration that aims to restore a whole bunch of opcodes and scripting functionality to Bitcoin.
Okay,
as I guess we didn't say his name yet, but as the person was saying in our spaces on Wednesday, there's a bunch of Bitcoin that Satoshi, for example, was experimenting with and using all these fancy scripts to lock up, time lock or whatever, geo lock, I'm not sure, that are now bound by these scripts to the blockchain. And since these opcodes have been removed, are locked there, there's no way to get them, basically. Therefore, I guess increasing the scarcity artificially, I would say, potentially. And so this guy was harping on about it, and somehow tied it to Roger Ver. I'm not sure how that link was made.
What happened? What Roger Ver was doing was saving those, like, I guess, going back to the original code when he created Bitcoin Cash, and one of his intentions was that there's, again, this was
that part of Bitcoin XL or something? Was that like?
Well, no, I think in Bitcoin Cash, maybe, because all those coins you get an airdrop, right? So you'd have a duplication in the new wallet, in your Bitcoin Cash wallet. So if you held Bitcoin, let's say you had 10 Bitcoin, once that hard fork happened, you'd have both. Bitcoin BTC and BCH would be in your wallet, an airdrop. But so there's all these different scripting languages, and I don't know if this is even called out, that Satoshi had 15 of these opcodes before he disappeared, disabling them entirely. But anyway, so there's, again, this is some stuff that I'm not a technical enough guy to know, but the goal is to kind of turn some of these back on. And what our guest was claiming is that, like, a lot of these addresses that have been sitting for a long time would essentially be unlocked. So someone who had those coins, because he actually claimed that there's an address in here specifically that said he's working on. He's trying to help somebody move the coins, and that they're unable to move them because these scripts were ripped out, or whatever they call it, removed, and kind of locked up these coins. And you can see the value of some of these wallets, just how, these are all right here, 2011, of all these inputs. They've never moved. And if you look at, like, okay, 10,000 Bitcoin, that's obviously, these are probably early miners. So, early on you could use if you had a GPU going hardcore, you were getting 50 Bitcoin every, not necessarily, you weren't going to win all of them, but you could win, 500 Bitcoin in a day. So that wasn't that crazy if you were an early miner. And so you'll see a lot of these have been dusted. That means that somebody maybe gave them an ordinal, or they were part of some sort of some sort of dusting campaign, which isn't uncommon. So no significant amount of money has been added to them since I mean, here since 2011. See, these are all just pennies. Here's $6, a couple, somebody giving them. Again, my guess is this is some sort of ordinal campaign, even though they're pretty old, or tipping or something going on.
I think, for tracking too, people dust large accounts with UTXOs they can track.
Okay, it could be. So yeah, here's one wallet worth $1 billion. Wow. And when I was telling Animal before we came on, I'm like, if you had any way of accessing, and granted, some of these can be frozen. I get accounts get lost. This is pretty suspicious to me. All these 10,000s flat, that tells me somebody, all around the same time frame, May, April of 2011, they were doing that on purpose in some way. So they haven't moved. And I said, Animal, like, you'd pay off your house, you'd like buy your, pay your car off, or like buy your parents' home. You'd move some coins. If these guys were buying, at the time, I don't even know if it would tell you what the price was at the time. I think it does. Yeah, $3.37.
Oh my God.
So this was $33,000. It's now $1 billion. You'd move something if you had the ability. So maybe they're frozen.
Sure as hell would want to,
yeah. So if you don't have any outs, if you've never moved them out, which is all of these. Now, some of these, this one I actually looked up. Actually, this might have been the wallet in question we were talking about. But I was mistaken on one of these. This is the Mt. Gox account. It still has 8 billion
oh my God.
coins in it. I don't know if those are accessible or not. From my understanding, they are, right? Isn't that?
Well, they should be, transferring them to the trustees soon, if they haven't already started.
So, you can see when this field over here is blank, that means they've never removed coins at all. They've added, things have been added. They've never been removed. So here you are. These are the oldest dormant addresses. Many of them over 10 years old, and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just sitting. And that really got me thinking, like, maybe he's right. Maybe there is something preventing, because you would hear stories. That's the other thing. I was like, you'd hear somebody say, we've heard some of these. Oh, I can't get it. It's on my old laptop. That guy in England who's trying to, go through a garbage dump to access his wallet worth $500 million. I looked up some stories. There's a couple where people claim they couldn't find a password, something like that. But we don't hear hundreds of stories, and from what I can tell, there's a lot of them. And it's a lot of miners, a lot of early miners who you would think are capable of understanding what's happening with their money. But I don't know. It's a conspiracy theory. We'll call it that.
And so he was trying to tie us to Roger because Roger wanted to enable these opcodes in Bitcoin Cash, which would have unlocked a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Which is this
whole Roger thing, honestly.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, this whole Roger thing confuses me. Basically, like, why are they going after him for his taxes? Shouldn't they be going after his accounting firm? I'm assuming he hired an accounting firm who had a CPA that signed off on this, that certified it, right?
Yep.
I'm assuming he gave him all the relevant documentation, all his records, his trades, all his addresses, whatever. Assuming that, why are they going after? They should be going after his accounting firm, right? Or is that just too logical?
That's just a government thing, in my opinion. Oops. I was going to try to find here a correlated. Hang on a second. I was going to try to find a wallet that's correlated. A Bitcoin wallet with a similar Bitcoin Cash wallet where one had moved and not the other. I'm trying to do live investigation is what I'm trying to tell you. So, because what you'll have is anytime you've moved coins, again, when you airdropped, the first 7 years, and when Bitcoin Cash was created, the first years where there was just one Bitcoin, once that hard fork comes, they have that common history. So anything that happened on BTC up to 2017, when that hard fork occurred, they have a collective history. So
You're
Bitcoin
looking
Cash will
for
have the exact same.
you're looking for addresses who've had their Bitcoin Cash moved but didn't move their Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think I found one here. So here, number 16, 1C. Well, it wouldn't be the same address, but on May 3rd, 2011, is that the one I'm looking for? I don't think that added up. I had one that was May of 2014, but maybe they've. Oh, because they're all. Oh, yeah, I gotta go 10,000. May 3rd. Yes, I had no outs. I was thinking maybe one of these.
That would be interesting because yeah, like for sure, a lot of people sold the Bitcoin Cash, right?
Yep. Oh, I got to go further back. 7 years. Well, anyway, it'd be worth some investigation. Are there people that have moved the Bitcoin Cash but have not moved the Bitcoin? And I don't know that would be possible. Is it possible? Yeah, you're having access to the same wallet because the airdrop comes to your same wallet, correct? I'm trying to remember how that worked.
Yeah. So you would sweep it, right? You would sweep if you had a paper wallet, for example. Excuse me. You would sweep it using like back in the day I did with Exodus wallet, and that was able to give me my Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold, all that crap. And I was able to sell it at that point.
Yeah, I do remember Litecoin Cash. I remember getting that.
I never heard of that until I met you, dude. I never heard of Litecoin Cash before.
I do know I figured out I downloaded the Litecoin Cash wallet, and I'm trying to remember how this is so long ago. But yeah, I mean you had a duplication. And a lot of the exchanges with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, like Coinbase, if you had your money on Coinbase, they would just, again, it was an airdrop, right? I always like to give that to Bitcoin Cashers. I say, yeah, Bitcoin Cash is just an airdrop,
Kind of.
It really was an airdrop. There's no proof of work for like 80% of Bitcoin Cash. All right, let's play this clip for. Let me make sure I got the sound working here.
I do a tab action.
Don't know if I can. Or tell me if you. I'm going to remove it and then bring it back. Hold on a second. We got Paul coming in about 10 minutes, so let me try this one more time. That is chill. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Please hold. All right. I'm going to turn this music off for a second. Is that music too loud, do you think? You have headphones in. Is it overpowering or is it pretty chill?
I hear it twice. There you
go. Whether I'm buying it or not. And I would like to do that in privacy. I don't think that's a weird thing to want. It's a human thing to want. And is that possible? Is my question. Is it now possible to conduct any kind of business with crypto anonymously?
So in the early days, everybody thought Bitcoin was basically anonymous and people treated it that way. And then later on, we found out that it wasn't anonymous at all, but additional steps were taken to make Bitcoin even less anonymous. And today, most people are just using custodial wallets, which are, it's not even a wallet. It's just an account, and it's no more private than your, Bank of America or PayPal account. And in fact, it's even less private than those things because anybody can take a look at the blockchain and see what's there. But luckily, there's other cryptocurrencies out there that do give people more privacy. So there's things like Monero, which most people are now using if they want some privacy. Monero that I mentioned before, it's preemptively banned from being listed on most exchanges in most of the world at this point. And that's simply because governments have much less of an ability to spy on people that are using things like Monero or Zano. And that's why I'm a big fan of things like Monero or Zano today. And in fact, today, I would be embarrassed to promote. I am embarrassed to promote Bitcoin to people today because the transactions are slow, expensive, unreliable, and you have no privacy. I'd be proud to promote something like a Monero or a Zano or a Zcash or a Zcoin or any of these privacy tools out there, because those are the ones that provide more individual control to people and more privacy and more economic freedom to people over the world. People are claiming that Bitcoin is freedom money, but I'm really afraid that they're literally building the financial prison walls around themselves.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that.
Well, obviously people weren't happy about that.
No.
He mentioned, I think he had also mentioned somewhere in Zcash, and he's had some positive things to say about Litecoin. I think I don't know if he's ever mentioned MWeb, but
Has ever mentioned MWeb?
I don't think he has. So,
he might have been in an interview with Vlad, actually.
I don't want to be too much of a hater. I'm obviously, I get very worked up about Bitcoin because I feel like there's been a lot of untruth spread about Bitcoin, and it's been so relentless. I think we've talked about that. It's been like this 24/7 marketing machine for 5 years of just ignore the realities of like actually using it. And just pump, and tell the story, even if there's no real
omitting the uncomfortable truths.
Yeah. But the reality is you should be talking about these things because, there was a guy just this week, he's going to jail because he didn't report his taxes on a Bitcoin sale. I don't know if you saw this. He sold like $4 million of Bitcoin back in 2018 or something, or 2017. And he didn't report. He had like a 1.4 million in back taxes. He didn't report. And he has to pay that back plus go to jail for 2 years.
And
I'm, I get very I'm like, yeah, whatever. A lot of times I'm like, if I go buy a gift card or something, and certainly as Litecoiners, we're not sitting here like, it's not like I'm sitting in profit that heavily. I'm always like, if I spend $20 a Litecoin, I might made $2, $6 somewhere.
Yeah, listen, I've been harvesting taxes for 2 years off of Litecoin, so cheers to that.
So there's a element of, I've always felt like you don't have to be, I don't know, the government isn't going to sit here. I shouldn't even say this on camera, but I mean, they're not, if they want to go through all my stuff, the purchases that are of meaning probably balance out to where I don't even owe anything, just because like you said, some of them have been losses and some have been gains. And so kind of consistently moving coins, there's a lot of transactions that can get very difficult to track. I don't know, maybe I do paint a target on my back, but I do think if you're making significant moves and you find yourself in significant profit, you have to really think about the consequences of trying to dodge that stuff. It's certainly possible, but it's also very possible they'll find you. Like
Over
things
time,
like things like Thorchain, which we're going to talk to a little bit about with Paul. You can certainly do it. You can certainly make the sales, and you can put the cash in your bank account, or you can go turn into Tether and buy gift cards and that type of stuff. But I think all these exchanges, even the DeFi exchanges, there's visibility.
Big time. With Thorchain, huge.
Yeah. So they can correlate ins and outs, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Same thing like on Cake Wallet, when you do swapping, you're using either like Simple Swap. There is some Thorchain. There's another one I can't think of.
There's a whole bunch of them on Cake, actually. We have a whole list here.
So when you do that, there's two sides. Like there's a movement in and a movement out. And I would feel like it's highly unlikely that whatever you're doing is completely untraceable. Unless you're like selling it for cash to somebody. That'd be a way that it's traceable. But a lot of your movements are visible. You go into MWeb, you're gonna achieve a lot more privacy. So if you put coins in MWeb and then you give them to somebody for cash, you pay for somebody to do something on your house, those things are pretty untraceable. But again, I just feel like a lot of times it's certainly not worth the I guess be aware of what your risks are, right? It's a risk reward. Maybe if you're making $20 million and you're like, I don't want to pay 8 to the government, that's your decision, man.
Yeah, I always encourage people to pay their taxes. I don't think we should encourage anyone not to.
Be aware that there's nothing stopping you. If you're in your bank account, or if you're on Coinbase, they may freeze you and go, hey, you're going to owe some tax before we let you take your money. We want you to fill out these forms, and everybody gets all pissed off about that. They're trying to just probably protect you, honestly. But if you're in DeFi, you can do all this stuff. But as we're seeing with Roger Ver, 10 years later, this is catching up to him, and he may go to Well, for what's it, 100 years of potential?
109 years. I find that insane. It's not real. That's not real. That's lawfare, man. That's not
Yeah, a
real.
lot of times when they throw those numbers out there, it's like this is the totality of the charges, and if you ran them, not in sequence as opposed to consecutively, or no, consecutively as opposed to all at once, right? That's what they put in the newspaper. But even if he goes, he did everything he could, right? He consulted tax attorneys. He was open with his records as much as possible. And he paid everything he did to not be a U.S. citizen and to leave the country. I don't believe he ever came back to the U.S. Maybe he did for travel or something. But he thought he'd paid everything fairly. And he ends up here 10 years later he's in, I don't know if he's probably not in prison right now, but he's probably out on bail.
Yeah, he's out on bail. He can't leave Spain.
Right. So I don't think there's a limit to what governments will do to make examples of you. And we talked about this on Wednesday, like Julian Assange or Edward Snowden, Ross, obviously Ross Ulbricht.
Yeah.
That if you're wildly defiant and visibly defiant of rules, that they will make an example of you to send a signal. Like, there are certain lines you don't cross with us. And Roger's just that polarizing. His charges came up a month after his book came out, which pointed to a lot of 3-letter agencies, right? And some people who are active in Bitcoin today, right?
The timing is excellent. The timing is impeccable, really. If for the conspiracy nuts out there, if you want to draw some conspiracies, yeah, the fact that those charges came out a month after his book, and the fact that his book is now it's like I think it's best selling on Amazon. So yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I've read the thing. I thought it was really interesting. I disagreed with about half of it, like when he's very critical of Bitcoin in ways that I agree to and about, but he offers Bitcoin Cash as a solution, whereas I think Litecoin is a better solution, more suitable. So yeah, about half the book I'm pretty much in agreement with Roger. It's just the second half when he talks about Bitcoin Cash, I agree a little bit less with him.
Yeah, there's a lot of I've been like this from the beginning. You have a lot of options, and if we're to narrow it down and say, if someone came to you and was like, hey, is Bitcoin Cash a safe asset? Should I use it? I don't think there's any reason for anybody to go, oh no, it's a scam. I don't think there's any, it's Bitcoin. It's the same. It's just a variation on the block sizes and some of the code to it, but it's structured in the same way. So that's where I'm always like, hey, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Monero, Dogecoin. I maybe Dash. There's a lot of Dash proponents. I don't love the way that thing launched with the masternode thing and everything, but still, a lot of these coins have a past as well, but the past doesn't really mean that much. Like, as far as the functionality of, do they work and are they decentralized? Is anybody going to turn your money off? No, that's probably the big thing. Like, it was funny. I actually reached out to, the account Bitfinex, who's like a Tether hater. I don't know if you ever.
Yeah. You spoke to him,
and he's on this thing about. He always talks about Charlie Lee at Coinbase, but I messaged him yesterday. I was like, hey, he was talking about something with Tether, which I'm fascinated with, the Tether and the lack of transparency with it, because it's this massive player in crypto. Like, literally, how many billions and billions of dollars have been, as far as we know, backed and put in via Tether to buy Bitcoin, and they buy Bitcoin, they're buying US treasuries, and you're like, how much of that is real? So I said, hey, would you be open to doing an interview? You don't have to be on camera. I just want to talk about the Tether stuff. And he's like, I don't want to associate with Litecoin at all. I'm like, hey, I don't own I don't run the company, or it's not a company or something like that. Like, I just want to talk about these things. And he brought up the fucking Charlie Lee thing again at Coinbase. And I'm like, this is 7 years ago. Like, even if it's true, even if all of it's true, and everybody feels like
Charlie in the bucket.
Yeah, Charlie gamed
like one
the
day's worth of
system.
volatility. It's like
Yeah,
so silly.
Exactly. It's so silly to look at that event as having any impact on where we are today. And I always say about when Charlie sold, it's like, well, good. Even if you think he's a scammer, okay, he's gone. He's been out of being a major Litecoin holder for longer. More than 50% of the life of Litecoin has been after he sold. So it's so funny how people get hung up on these old things as opposed to just talking about where are we today. And that's just the coin loyalty thing, the chain loyalty. Yeah, they want to
that's misinformation or disinformation though. At the same time, like when you admit like all the positive aspects of the coin and how much it's doing for the community, how much work it's been doing with SegWit and Lightning, for example, how it implemented MWeb. Nobody ever talks about that, right?
Right.
Like I'd be surprised if Bitfinex, whatever, he probably knows about it, but he would never write about it. Unless there's some kind of scandal associated with it.
Now he's a crypto hater, and which is fine. I actually think conversations with crypto haters are healthy. It's healthy to have skepticism about your own thoughts sometimes.
Yeah, I guess. But you just gotta wonder if this guy's being honest, right? If he's debating us in good faith, and I don't think he is. I feel like at some point, there's some kind of financial motivation. Probably this person is being paid by an organization to do this stuff. This is a lot of work. Is it a passion project for him? I don't know.
Yeah, he's
Did they
very
find
hung
out
up
who this guy
on-
was finally? Didn't he get doxxed?
I don't know. I'm not interested in doxing people.
But I think he
you
did.
know what? While we're talking about shitbag, well, let's talk, because Roger, I do want to just flash back to Roger real quick.
Yeah.
When I talk about people being made an example of, I used to say this a lot more than I do now in spaces, that, if these monies take over and what I say, I always say, control the money supply is oxygen to the governments. So if they don't have control of their own money, they lose control of everything. Like they all of a sudden have to, how do you pay your military? Right? If the military is like, your money's worthless, you got to start paying me in X gold or Bitcoin or whatever, Litecoin, then they lose this ability to kind of sway public opinion. They can't move markets, like they can't subsidize different industries like they did. So it's so vital that if you start challenging those things and you start showing people a path outside of what is the accepted paths, it gets very dangerous to people, which is why you see the backlash of Elon, or even like Robert F. Kennedy, RFK Jr., like before he's even done anything as a leader, they're already on him. They want
He's an anti-vaxxer, right?
They want to neuter him before he even does one.
Well, they were attacking him when he was running for for
president, yeah,
leader of the Democratic Party. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how people, because like I've talked to people like in this area where I live in Montreal, and they're like, yeah, this guy Robert F. Kennedy, he's a freak, he's crazy, blah blah, and so they have such a strong opinion of him.
Isn't that funny?
And I'm like, well, how did that happen? Because I have like a totally different opinion. Like I'm looking at this guy, and he wrote a post in October before they won, talking about all the cool things he would do if he were to win. Like let me see if I can find it real quick. But he was talking about peptides and stem cells. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
FDA's war on public health is about to end. This includes its aggressive suppression of psychedelics, peptides, stem cells, raw milk, hyperbaric therapies, chilethine compounds. I don't know what that is. Ivermectin, hydrochloroquine, vitamins, clean food, sunshine, exercise.
Sunshine.
I don't know what that word means. Like honestly,
we're talking about bringing incandescent light bulbs back, which I'm actually kind of excited.
Really? Is there?
Look up near infrared radiation. It's supposed to be something that we very much lack. You get it from sunshine, even little bits from campfire, and little bits from incandescent light bulbs. Start going. I actually, it's more the aesthetic. I really don't like LEDs in a lot of ways. I feel we've lost something there.
But vitamin D. Something.
No, near infrared radiation. No, but just the mood of it. You know, like you drive around looking at Christmas lights, and it's the blue light, right? It's like just cold. Right. They don't. I mean, look. LEDs are an amazing invention, dude. Maybe one of the most underrated inventions of our time. That just kind of integrated into our lives seamlessly, and they're so wildly energy efficient. It's just fucking mind blowing compared to like, oh, you'd have here's a 60-watt bulb that was literally sucking 60 watts out, and they'd burn out in 9 months. And now you have one that takes like 6 watts and runs forever. You don't even turn your lights off. You don't even care anymore. You're like, whatever, I'll just leave. It cost me a penny to run my lights all night in my basement. Like, I'll just leave them on. I don't care. So
this is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, for sure, it doesn't add warmth. I mean, they do sell some that have like warmer temperatures.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. The incandescents are nice. I like the ones that kind of like have that old style with like the filaments. You can see their LED filaments inside.
Yeah,
they do add some warmth.
Those aren't truly incandescents, though. The only way you can
they're LEDs.
Yeah, they just look like.
But they're expensive.
Yeah,
they're like I think triple the price of regular ones.
All right, what were we talking? I feel like where I was going somewhere with the.
We're talking about Robert F. Kennedy, and this is. Let me finish reading that tweet because it got cut off, and I don't know how to pronounce nutraceuticals, whatever.
Nutraceuticals.
Nutraceuticals. What are those? I have no idea.
That would be like it's not pharmaceutical stuff. It would be like not non-pharma grade types of.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
And, you know, you go to the store and they're selling like bilberry extract or some shit like that.
Right, like monkey balls or something. Okay, so and then he goes on to say, if you work for the FDA and are part of this corrupt system, I have 2 messages for you. 1, preserve your records, and 2, pack your bags. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Honestly, if the United States becomes a pioneer in stem cell therapies, so good, so happy. Honestly, that's my utopia, where people are able to get stem cell therapy at a reasonable price, on demand. You know, maybe even covered by insurance. Yeah, maybe even just as preventative therapies. You know, even if you don't have a sore back or a sore joint or whatever, just get some anyways.
All right, I want to. I don't know if Paul is not here yet, but I do want to. I got a couple things I want to talk about if he doesn't show up. But real quick, Litoshi's in the comments on YouTube. He says, I sent some Litecoin from MWeb to Cake Wallet MWeb, and the coins never showed up. Okay, so what I would tell you to do is close the app, like force close it, reopen it. If that doesn't work, because sometimes what happens, if you'll see at the top, the nodes aren't syncing properly. I've had that sometimes with Cake Wallet. You can change which node you're using. So if you swipe, I think, to the left, you'll have a menu come up with nodes. You can change the node. If that all doesn't work, I would uninstall the app. Like, make sure you got your seed words, uninstall the app and reinstall it. And I've had the same thing with Lite Wallet. I don't know what happens. It's something to do with the way it's syncing to the nodes, or you're on a different version or something like that. You have to update the app, make sure the app is updated to the most recent version. So I hope that's helpful.
Saying you already tried to rescan.
You know, if you want, I mean, feel free to DM me. I don't know that I can help you. I might be able to at least put you in touch with somebody at Cake. But I would reach out to the Cake account on Twitter, honestly, or X, whatever. They're usually pretty responsive. Tell them Litecoin Underground sent you. I don't know if that'll mean anything.
And obviously, if you do not give anyone your seed phrase if they ask for it,
yes,
unless maybe Cake, but even then, I don't know if they would actually need it. I don't think so. They would never ask.
They should not.
Yeah.
If somebody asks you for that, they're trying to scam you. 100%. Don't ever, like, literally never, ever.
Dude, there's so many scam accounts on X. Like, I'm getting hit up by these guys. They have like 10,000 accounts. They're verified. They've got 10,000 bot accounts following them. It's crazy. There's a lot of bots here, man. A lot of hackers, a lot of scammers, and yeah, people definitely have to be careful.
There was one this week. This guy, I think I reposted it, but he got drained of all of his. It's a MetaMask thing. Anytime you have a desktop wallet in particular, where someone can get remote control of your desktop, then you should be extremely afraid of what is going on. You got to have some sort of password or something to protect that. But they can even track keystrokes for passwords and that type of stuff. And I think they lay in wait a lot of times. They just get access and then they just monitor until the right time. So you may not even know you're being monitored. Because you had one recently, like you said, didn't you say somebody thought it looked
so
good?
Convincing. So convincing. Yeah. And like, they're offering work and stuff. And they're like, yeah, let's do an interview. I'm like, okay. And they send me this link and I checked the software out and I put it in through, Virus Total, and sure enough there's a Trojan in it. I'm like, well, fuck, that was extremely convincing. Like, that was like, my goodness. It felt like I got spearfished, you know what I mean? Like, they were targeting me specifically, and knew what I would respond to.
Yep.
It's wild. You have to be super hyper vigilant out there.
Yeah, so don't ever, if somebody gives you an address and they're like the biggest scam I see in Coinbase, in the Coinbase world, when people are doing, they call them, social engineering. So they get you believing something's wrong with your account, or they work at Coinbase and they're like, we're moving accounts. We need you to move your funds over to this wallet. We're going to send you an address. You don't have to send me your seed words. We're just going to send you an address to move your coins to. And noobs are just like, oh, okay, well, that's not dangerous, right? But the reality of what happens is they have the seed words of the new account. So you're just sending money to their account, or to an account they control. And that's where a lot of people get drained too. And it's, man, you hear these stories, you're just like, holy Jesus, man, hundreds of thousands of dollars, just like, here you go. And these scammers are making 10 grand, a lot of them will say, I made, you can hear some interviews out there, make 10 grand a day, 20 grand a day, just picking up the phone,
scamming people. People.
Which actually I meant to talk about a little bit, was splitting up your seed words. So this is a good security measure. I've done it personally. If you have a 24-word seed phrase, it's not good to keep them all in the same place. But you don't obviously want to break them up so much that you can't retrieve them. You don't want to put yourself on a wild goose chase. Hopefully this is a backup plan, right? Hopefully you have a way to get access to your coins without needing your seed phrase. But like, in a moment of, let's say you get, I don't know, someone breaks into your home or whatever, you can just destroy your hardware wallet so that they can't access that. And then there's not enough information for them to retrieve your coins in that moment, even if they get what you have written down. So a simple way of doing that is you keep 16 of your words you would keep like at home or in a safe place. Maybe it's a safe deposit box, or your grandma's house or something. And then you put 16 words in a second location and 16 words in a third location, so that if if your house burns down, you can take the other two sections and piece them back together to retrieve your full seed phrase. So
it's like you're creating your own,
have all three.
Your own sneaker net multi-sig.
Yeah, so it's not so not there's not one single one that'll do it. You'd have to have at least two of them to do it. And maybe a safer way to do it would be break it into 4s or break it into 5. But obviously it starts getting difficult to have 5 places you trust. Litoshi's having an issue. I don't know what to tell you, Litoshi. I know
always test with small amounts first.
Yeah. I mean, they're out there. It just hasn't shown up, huh? I don't know. I wish I don't know how to help you. So sorry, I'm distracted by the comments. He's having an issue with Cake Wallet.
Let's throw it up so the audience, if they're watching, they can see.
We're not trying to hide from this.
No. I installed and reinstalled Cake Wallet. Same issue. I contacted Cake Wallet support, and they don't know how to help.
You know who I would
Sounds.
tell you to maybe talk to is Johnny Litecoin does.
Oh yeah.
He is like Litecoin support, so he's often very good about going through this with you and helping you out. He's somebody I would trust. Again, don't give him your seed words. I don't think he would ever ask for your seed words, but he's done a lot of wallet help over the years as well. So maybe try him. So yeah, sorry, and we're getting sidetracked by a YouTube conversation about some lost Litecoin. But all right, well, Paul is not here yet. I'm going to message him again. I do want to talk about this, what I call a scammer. While we're at, let me get a message out to Paul real quick, and then you want to talk about quantum too, quantum computing.
Yeah, I mean, there was this. Well, that's what happened this week. Google released some new, what is it? Some new technology that they created. This whole Willow thing. This new chip. It's very advanced, and what is it like? Able to do 5-minute computations, or what? Sorry, able to do in 5 minutes with what today's supercomputers would typically do in 10 septillion years.
Pull that up. Can you share that?
Yeah. All right.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that. I'm out of it, dude. Can you present if I'm presenting, or do I need to leave?
I should be able to.
Yeah, I guess. Well, Paul, I'm getting no response from Paul. So I don't know. Maybe he's just not going to come on. That's okay. You and I can fill space. That's for damn sure.
I want to do the tab here. What is this?
Oh my gosh.
I got it.
I do have a video of Chamath. Is that his name? Yeah, I don't love him, but he talks a little bit about it. But wait, you're just shaped weird. Why is your screen like that?
What do you mean? What's wrong with it?
It's so narrow.
Yeah. Oh, you want me to do it? I could do it like that too.
Oh, you're so fancy. All right.
I like it better when it's half, because then
yeah, go ahead.
It's a little bit neater.
You gotta zoom it in though. I can't read. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. So yeah, I mean,
developed to learn and evolve like the natural world around us. Willow from Google Quantum AI.
From what I understood, these guys are able to add qubits, and in the past, where every time you were to add a qubit to an equation or whatever, the information would I guess infer some static and become less accurate. But now they can add qubits, and they use like qubit error correction or something to make the results more accurate as you add, like exponentially more accurate as you add more qubits.
Well, quantum is cool. A bit of more of a probability thing, right?
I guess
it's not.
Depends what you're doing.
It's like,
yeah, I'm not sure how probability plays into it. I think actually, say for example, if you're trying to mine a Bitcoin block, that's probability, right? You have so many terahashes, and against the difficulty, it's like you're just shotgunning all your answers, and there's a certain probability that you'll get it. Whereas with quantum, the way it was explained to me in this respect was, okay, say the whole ocean, right, was a Bitcoin hash rate, and in order to win a block, a miner would have to throw a pebble, or a marble rather, into the ocean somewhere, and it would have to go, like, with all the waves and stuff, it would have to find the deepest valley of the ocean in terms of its wave structure, right? So that's the way miners do it these days. They just pitch bajillions of marbles into the ocean, and the second one of the marbles finds the lowest point in the waves, the block is unlocked. Whereas with a quantum computer, you have a single marble and you throw it anywhere and it automatically goes to the lowest point in the ocean. First shot. So I guess
How's that possible?
it's magic, bro. I'm telling you. Look, I mean, you want to listen to this guy talking about it? I
Well,
feel
the thing I've heard, it's like, today it's binary. It's yes or no. It's ones or zeros. And
Right.
with quantum, it's like it's yes and no at the same time. And I'm like, I don't fucking understand that. I'm already lost. Yeah, let's watch it. Let's watch the rest of that video. Julian.
Hi,
Julian.
I'm Julian Kelly, Director of Hardware at Google Quantum AI. And today, on behalf of our amazing team, I'm proud to announce Willow. Willow is Google's newest and most powerful superconducting quantum computing chip, and the next step in our path towards building large-scale quantum computers and exploring their applications. I've been fascinated with quantum computing since I first experimented with qubits in 2008. And since coming to Google in 2015, it has been a dream to make our mission a reality, building quantum computers for otherwise unsolvable problems. We launched our first chip, Foxtail, in 2017, followed by Bristlecone in 2018 and Sycamore in 2019, which powered our milestone 1, the first quantum computer to surpass the best classical supercomputer on a computational task, random circuit sampling. Over the years with Sycamore, we have been able to squeeze a remarkable amount of performance from our hardware, including achieving a scalable logical qubit in our milestone 2.
All right. Scalable logical qubit. That's what he's talking about. Okay, this is it. This is the part this is where the magic
Errors
happens.
are exponentially suppressed in our logical qubits, as error rates are halved each time we add physical qubits and scale from distance 3 to 5 to 7 surface codes. Additionally, our logical qubit lifetimes are now much longer than all of the lifetimes of the physical qubits that compose them. This means that even as we make our quantum chips larger and more complex by adding more qubits, we can use quantum error correction to actually improve their accuracy. We've pitted Willow against one of the world's most powerful supercomputers with the random circuit sampling benchmark. The results are pretty surprising. By our best estimates, a calculation that takes Willow under 5 minutes would take the fastest supercomputer 10 to the 25 years. That's a 1 with 25 zeros following it, or a timescale way longer than the age of the universe. This result highlights the exponentially growing gap between classical and quantum computation for certain applications.
So that's pretty impressive stuff, I think. Probably
Crazy.
something that we should start considering protecting ourselves against. I don't know how resilient, the elliptical curve encryption is that people use right now for public and private keys.
Charlie has said Litecoin could easily be quantum resistant, which I'm not sure what he means by that.
I think with MWeb, if you have your coins pegged into MWeb, there's some resistance there. Because the address changes every 2.5 minutes, maybe it's harder. It's like a moving target. That's unless you have a super fast quantum computer, right? It might be harder to unlock that address. Although all you have to do is get lucky. All you need is like a 10-minute block and a computer that can do it in less than 5 minutes or so, right? Like,
yeah, you wonder what the resources required for this. But I mean, it's again, this is just the first step, right? He's talking about the amount of growth they've had in 5 years. And so what's another 5 years? We know exponential growth comes. I don't know. I hear this and I like to think optimistically. With the interconnectivity of computers, think about the answers this thing might be able to produce. Like with the data available to it today, there's so many multifaceted problems The idea that something could harness all that information and do something, produce, data is just data. It's not information. You need to work
Right.
with the data to turn it into information. And yeah, man, this is kind of wild to hear that number. 10 to the 25.
And so there's a data processing aspect, and there's also like the interfacing, like quantum entanglement, and how you're able to transfer data at speeds faster than the speed of light or something like that. All that stuff is like really far out. And yeah, I think we're going to see some crazy stuff happening in the next 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised if we find that people are working on attacking blockchains with it. There's a lot of money in there. It's a nice juicy pot, and I think it's something that definitely people in the crypto community, Bitcoin especially, should focus on. I know. So one of the devs for Bell's
just in
Coin,
trading in general, the ability to
trading,
analyze more information than any human or computer could even understand, like relationships between different industries, or patterns among individual traders, patterns of two different stocks against each other, or like, the price of gasoline goes up 10 cents. And what does that mean? What does that happen? Does that affect markets? And
right.
To front run shit constantly, being so much faster and seeing into the future compared to what other people can, right?
That's what it is. It's having the ability to infer, to predict with great accuracy.
That's scary.
Yeah.
In a way, it's scary what can be produced, but it's just a computer. You just cut it off, just unplug it. We're good to go.
Remember last year when we had ChatGPT 3.5, and we thought, wow, this was amazing. It was like so great. It's so smart, In reality, it had an IQ of like maybe 100 or something, right?
Yeah.
It had access to a whole bunch of knowledge, but was kind of dumb. And now these days we're getting like, ChatGPT 4.0, we're getting Claude, and people are like saying that, yeah, ChatGPT 4.0 kind of sucks. Claude's the best. I can't use ChatGPT 4. It doesn't work for me and stuff. We're getting kind of
spoiled.
We're getting really demanding of our, of our Gen AI. And like, so Claude now, I think probably has an IQ of 120 or something when it comes to coding. And ChatGPT 4.0 probably is like 115. Eventually, probably sooner than later, we're going to get that, that AI in our pocket that's more than just, regurgitating information to us, but it has an actual IQ that surpasses ours. Maybe like, in the next 5 years, we'll probably, with this, and this is without quantum tech, right, achieve just super intelligence in our pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So if you layer on top of that quantum capabilities, it's really kind of hard to imagine what the future will have in store for us. More and more, the likelihood that we're living in a simulation is seeming more and more plausible. You know what I mean? Like, it looks like we're on our way to creating it.
Yeah, I know. It makes me think of the movie Minority Report. You ever see that movie?
Yes. Yeah. No. I was telling my girlfriend about it. She never saw it before, and she's a lawyer, right?
I love that. Dude, it's such a great movie. It really is. It's Tom Cruise's probably his best movie.
I think so. Yeah. I was explaining to her the concept, and she's like, she can understand. It's like, so they arrest people before they commit the crimes.
Why? When you think about it, quantum computing, you have these variables. Can they not pinpoint who is not necessarily likely to commit a crime, maybe you could do that. Maybe you're not going to arrest people, but to monitor them more closely on stuff. It could be even stuff like speech patterns, how close they live to a nuclear power plant, some just ridiculous stuff that none of us would ever think about. Like I think I mentioned to you that last week. Remember, there was a map about murders in the United States and like the highest murder rates, and all of them were near the Mississippi River. And I was like, well, that's weird. Is it something with the water? I don't know. Have we ever looked at this angle? This thing can look at every possible angle. Proximity to a coal mine Does that mean something? So when you start factoring all these things, will they be able to go, look, this produces criminals? You know, maybe your dad doesn't live with you, your mom died at 12, you're, you know,
Well,
you got
they
bad grades
did.
in school, you're male, you're live within 100 yards of a baseball park, whatever, like just
Dude, this
weird
is
shit.
what you're saying actually totally happened with unleaded or leaded gas stations, right? Leaded fuel gas stations. People that lived
Okay.
around these gas stations were exposed to lead fumes, and yeah, were more inclined to violence
I didn't know that.
and crime as a result of it. Yeah, apparently leaded fuel really messes with your brain if you live in proximity to it. And this is one of the reasons why it's all unleaded these days. Well, I think also the technology's improved, but
Well, that's
yeah.
what I'm hoping to get to. Like I always talk about, I get so frustrated with group identities, and like, you know, both sides do it. They group people by race, gender, age, you know, religion, all this shit, rather than just looking at people as individuals and understanding that things impact people as individuals. So if you wipe all that stuff away, I would hope something like this could do that. Could say, I'm not going to look at people through a human lens of what my eyes see. I'm going to look at like this multifactorial thing. So it's kind of cool. I don't know, if you haven't seen Minority Report, go fucking see Minority Report. Great. I thought it was so cool to get your mind working. It's a lot of it's become very accurate. You know, in the movie when he walks through the mall and it recognizes who you are and personalizes ads to your, like, to why you're there. Like, hey, you were almost like what we could do today. I still don't know why we don't have, like, if I go to McDonald's, I'm surprised they don't have facial recognition to know what I always order and say, hey, what would you like today? And I should talk to an AI, because I can't, the people that are, the customer service sucks. They're not cheery. They're not nice. And they don't understand me. And like, there's going to be, this is where we're going very quickly.
Honestly, Uber Eats does a pretty decent job. Uber Eats knows when I'm hungry. I don't know how, but I get the notifications just as I'm starting to. I was like, damn, I'm a little hungry, and it's like, ding, ding. It's like, hey guy, you wanna order some more shawarma?
Yeah,
actually, yeah.
I watched a video recently about online gambling, and they said that online gambling profiles you based on how much money you have, how much you've lost. If you lost like a lot this weekend, it'll send you ads like, hey man, you got to get back into this, or like, here's a promo to get you back on your feet after your big loss. And it's only going to get better. And you fucking get in your head. You can start, like, we need to be quantum resistant as individuals, not just as blockchains.
That's the thing, man. We got it. Honestly, privacy is sacred, I feel, and we're giving it away at every stop. You know, with Facebook and Meta and WhatsApp. Like, how crazy is it? You're talking to your wife or girlfriend about going on a trip, just, you know, casually, not even setting in dates, and then like you're getting ads for Airbnbs in the area that you were talking about. Like, what the hell? That freaks me out. Honestly, like I've noticed a huge reduction in that nonsense since I started using Graphene OS, and I no longer use Facebook or WhatsApp. So unless I'm on my my computer and I've got Facebook open, yeah, I mean, my phone is a lot more private, I feel. Yeah, so it's been less, but you know, the Uber Eats app is still there, and it still knows when I'm hungry, which freaks me out. But
you haven't turned that one off.
I'm okay with it.
I've never used Uber Eats.
Oh no?
They offer me all the time, hey, $25 for free meal, and I never do it.
The BOGO.
I don't know why. I don't know. I don't eat out at restaurants in general very often, but I should do it for just the free promo shit, you know?
Oh, yeah. You know what I started doing, actually? We're getting a little bit off topic here, but I signed up for a Factor.
Oh, okay, yeah. Not a sponsor.
Factor meals.
But if you'd like to be
not a sponsor, but you know what? Like, if you want a free box of food, let me know. I'll send you my I'll send you my affiliate link. I think I got one, and it's pretty good. They have keto options, so you know.
What's it cost?
Like, eggs in the morning.
Can you break it down, like, about what a meal ends up costing you?
Yeah, it's not super cheap. It's like 12 Canadian bucks about.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's less expensive than a shawarma. delivered, which will like through Reeds comes out to about $20 Canadian.
So what is it like
Um,
is it like a TV dinner, but just like a really fancy one, or do you get like a raw steak and the vegetables? You got to cook it all yourself, and they give you the spices, or
Yeah, you're thinking
pre-seasoned
about
type?
like HelloFresh or something. Let me see if I can log in without doxing myself.
Well, yeah,
See,
we're
yeah,
gonna go.
it shows my name here, so I don't really
Oh.
want to.
Hey, while you're looking that up, Chief, you're in the comments. Are we doing poker tonight? I think his plan was to do poker at like 8 o'clock tonight Eastern, which I might live stream. I don't know if I think I have some family stuff, but I'll probably be back by 8 or at some point in time. If you want to share that in the comments on X, please do, Chief. I don't know who's playing. Would you play tonight if we played Animal? Or are you out?
Yeah, I should be able to. I think we got dinner plans, but what time is it going to be at? Like 8 or 9?
Something like that.
I could probably join.
Oh wait,
I
Hey, while you're
can't show my menu unless I don't think so.
Well, whatever. So, but what's the process? Like, do you get the raw ingredients, or do you get? Is it like a?
No,
you put it
it's
in the
it's
oven for
they
X
come in
amount?
these little boxes, right? And you microwave them for 3 minutes. You can take them out of the boxes or the plastic containers because some people are afraid of microplastics and whatnot, as they should be. And you just put them in a bowl, 3 minutes in the microwave. You zap it. You can put it in the oven too. And yeah, 600 calories thereabouts. You can get a keto menu, in which case you have somewhere between 15 and 18 grams of carbs per meal, which I really like. I try to be as keto as possible.
Okay.
And so it just makes keto easy. It makes it healthy. Look, these aren't organic ingredients by any means, but they're healthy enough. The whole reason why I started with this is because my girlfriend's grandmother, she's 90 or 91 now, and a couple of weeks ago she had some issues and didn't have time or was unable to do groceries, and no one else was able to do groceries for her. So we need to find a solution so that we made sure that she was being fed and able to feed herself regularly.
I mean, is it good?
And
It's microwave is not
it's
a very
freaking
way
good.
to-
I'm not fussy. That's true. But I gotta say, like, it's pretty tasty for keto stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you
They
get
have vegetarian options.
you
Pardon?
get like a pre-cooked steak, and they
No steaks. So they do have ground beef, a bunch of ground beef. The best meal I've had is the salmon. Where is it? If I can find it.
it's like a. I mean, I'm not trying to insult. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's better than TV dinner, but it's kind of like that. It's like throws in the microwave. It's just higher quality, never been frozen kind of stuff.
The almond crusted. Yeah, dude.
Just go buy salmon. You know how easy it is to cook salmon?
I know how easy it is to cook salmon. I used to
Throw
be
it in
dude.
like 25
worked in the
minutes,
kitchen for
wrap it up
5
in
years,
foil.
so-
You're good.
I know how to. I know, but sometimes you just don't want to.
I get it.
And this is so good. You stick it in the microwave, boom, and then it's also with the girlfriend too. It's like, so what do you feel like eating tonight? Salmon? Nah. Okay. Steak? Nah, I had steak for lunch. Oh, okay. Chicken?
Yeah, it's all
Oh,
frozen, easy to get. Yeah.
You know what? You choose one. I'll choose one. And we can just get on with our lives and watch the rest of Arcane or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Arcane, did you say?
yeah.
I started watching it with my daughter. We just got done with season 1 last night. I've been
Oh, yeah.
really impressed with that show, actually, because it's based on a video game, and I was like, I'm watching it going, dude, this story is freaking good. You know what I mean? There's so many different players in it, and you don't trust any of them. I'm like, I don't know. I don't like. It's like I started drawing a correlation last night. Don't tell me what's happening, but we're starting a season 2. I think we watched the first episode of season 2. And the one guy's name is Jace.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jace, JC, Jesus Christ. My daughter said at some
Oh.
point he grows his beard out and everything. I'm like, maybe he's some sort of, I'm starting to see this evolution here where he's going to be this sacrificial lamb at some point. Don't tell me that happened. I'm just saying that's the correlation I was drawing. Jace for JC, for Jesus Christ. As soon as she told me he had a beard later in this show, I was like, he's gonna be Jesus. But it's so cool, man. Like the character development's been awesome in it. So
The first season, I'll admit, like, man, you saw the first season, right?
Yeah, like literally, I just said, I think we got done with the first episode of the second season last night.
Okay. Yeah, they're both very good. Looking at like the first season, how people have evolved since, like, it's a great episode. It's crazy how these video game, like, how it came from a video game where really, like, I don't know, they just developed these characters in a way that I was not expecting. I played a bit of League, but nowhere near as much as people I know, and I never expected this to come out of it. I love it. I think there's so much room, there's so much lore that can be developed even further. It's kind of like the Warhammer stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever get into Warhammer?
No, I'm not like, literally, when I tell you I had to stop playing video games at Halo 2, I'm being dead honest. I still play like some PC games that are just like, I like puzzle games, or like, I love like resource management shit, and
Yeah.
you know, like city building, that type of stuff I find fun. But those big open world ones, I've never gotten into them, honestly.
Now, Warhammer's kind of, it's an old thing. It's been around almost as long as Dungeons and Dragons. Not quite,
Oh, okay.
but like still
Okay.
since the 70s. And it's like a tabletop game where you have a book and you kind of like, going on these quests or whatever. And so since it's been around since the 70s, and because of that, there's tons of lore, tons of factions, tons of stories, whatever, books, movies, comics, and all this stuff out about it. And I never really got into it because I thought it was super geeky. But then I started to play this video game, this Space Marine 2, and realized how freaking cool it was, and I started diving deep into it. I recommend it. I mean, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube about it. But it's dark. It's very grim. It's a very grim universe, and it reminds me a lot of heavy metal. If you remember the 80s and 90s, the heavy metal movies.
Yeah,
It's
I
kinda
never
like
watched
that.
it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's in the same vein. It's pretty badass.
That's the cool thing I love about Arcane, is the style of it. It's like this weird
Right.
blend of futuristic steampunk, and the way they made it is really cool. There's a lot of tropes in it, like where I would be like, oh, it's the same thing you would have seen in Star Wars, or the hero stuff, or the drama between the powerful and the undercity and whatever. And you're like, okay, it's stereotypical stuff, but yeah, they just play it real well. It's funny you say that, because I literally watched a couple episodes last night, and I'm like, my daughter's like, I'm tired this morning because it was like midnight. She's like, let's watch one more. And I'm like, dude, I'm tired.
45 minutes.
And she gets
Yeah.
mad at me. Like, my daughter, if I'm sitting there watching a show with her and I like check my phone, she's like, put your phone away. She gets
Yeah.
all angry with me. Yeah.
Really
I'm
cool.
like, all right, you're right, I'll watch. Because she's so into it, and she loves a lot of this animation and anime she likes, which I'd never watched anime. I watched it was called something Spy Family, something Spy Family. There was an anime, very cool. Another one, good story. Like it wasn't like a big fighting one, but it was interesting. The setup was like the mom and the dad were both spies that had created this family. They were both spying on each other, but neither of them knew the other one was a spy. And this kid lives in this family with these two spy parents. And then the kid has like these, he's kind of a badass fighter and shit. And you're like, it sets up very cool storylines.
The kid puts the pieces together.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So, well, anyway, Paul didn't show up. Oh, Chief did say 8:00 tonight, poker. So I'm going to try to be there. Again, I think I have I've got something I got to be at, but I should be back by 8:00. But so I'll jump on there. We may live stream it. I've won both other times. If you want to come challenge the king, you think you can take my Litecoin from me, I challenge you to join us. Just DM me or DM Chief, who is just at Chief Litecoin. And he's been arranging these games. He holds the money. I've known Chief. He's come a long time. He just kind of it's a private game, so there's no rake from the house or anything like that. And then at the end, he just distributes exactly what you're owed. So he doesn't even take a tip or anything. And I'll vouch for him. If he screws you, then I'll reimburse you and I'll go after him. So, all right. I think that's all. Oh, I did want to show you one last thing if you got a minute, and it's this. I'm going to call him a scammer because I don't care. I hate these people. So anytime someone comes after Litecoin, I get a little bit frustrated. So this guy made a post. He says, I've only been shilled Litecoin and XRP at a high net worth business event. Sell it all. What is going on? Mocking XRP and Litecoin, essentially saying
this
people
guy.
are...
HNW is high net worth. Is that what that means?
Yeah.
Oh.
And, of course, Litecoiners come in and this guy goes to Has No Wealth business event. Makes sense. See, checks out. They're all laughing. Haha, Litecoin sucks. But the Litecoin account itself had said, oh, that's interesting, right? Because, that actually is interesting that people with a lot of money are interested. And so he's kind of mocking it. He said, where are we at here? Just kind of, I was giving him some shit. But essentially, he's just kind of mocking Litecoin. And so I posted in his thread, hey, this guy, some posts that he had, that he was telling people to buy FTT, which was the FTX coin, in July of 3 months before it went to literally zero. He was 6 weeks before Luna collapsed. He was posting. So I put this in his thread, and he goes and deletes the tweets because he realizes that I caught his fucking bitch ass. So I kept these. I knew it was going to happen, and I was like, I'm screenshotting these things. So here, surprisingly, he didn't block me yet. I don't know if maybe he just hasn't seen this yet, but here are the tweets, right? So he said, I think FTT is a great buy right now. He shilled FTT a lot, acquiring and buying everything for cents on the dollar. Great product, growing customer base, led by SBF. I think he's the Zuckerberg of this generation. In July of 22. So 4 months later is when FTX blew up. And that coin, went from about $25 to 25 cents. So Ben Simpson, AU, he must be Australian. That tells you a little something right there.
Right.
And then here, Luna breaking out, up 80% this month. Good fundamentals, good token utility, and a strong community.
Good fundamentals.
Literally 2 months, 8 weeks. I said 6, 8 weeks before it went to almost less than zero.
Yeah.
Should I pull up the? Oh, here's the Litecoin chart, which is doing okay. Let me pull up, because it is, some of these coins are funny to look at. That you look back and you're like, holy shit! Can you imagine having had? I mean, it sucks. There's people that lost a lifetime of money in. Why can't I search? What is going on? In Luna, why is it making me? Oh, never mind. I just don't know how to use the internet. So it'd be Luna Classic now because they've changed. Although maybe he meant Luna the coin. We could look at both of these. Here's a chart. So it's got 3 zeros. Let's see. This is fun to look at. So here he is. He's shilling early March of 22 at $85. At $85, if you had followed Ben's advice, you would have been good for at the end of March. If you could have cashed out, but if you held a little too long, you went from $80 on May 6th to 0.6 of a penny on May 12th. Just repeat that. $82.
That's 2022.
To zero. Fucking A. Oh. So you heard these stories about people going, I'm getting 20% on my dollars. And they put like $100,000 into an account thinking they're going to make 20 grand a year. And it just vaporized, dude. Yeah. Oh man. here's Luna itself. So maybe he was talking about Terra Luna, which was the coin Luna Lunk that Luna Classic was the actual. It was a different platform. They were related though.
So what is this? Correct? Is this still Doquan?
Oh no, I'm sorry, Luna. This launched after. This was the like a hard fork kind of thing. That's what. So this didn't exist back then. But even this one's down 97%.
What's it doing
since launch?
Who would buy this shit? I don't understand. What exchange is it on?
Everywhere. Binance. Well, Binance held a lot of them. I think a lot of these assets were held by exchanges, and so they don't have any interest in it going to zero. They like to have it be like, hey, trade it. They make money on fees. They just want people to trade and gamble.
I would love to see an exchange that has some principles, right? Like, okay, Coinbase listing Fart Coin and not Bell's Coin. That kind of pisses me off.
It's about fees, man.
Well, they're being bribed by people because they have like whoever created the Fart Coin token must have given Coinbase a quarter of them for liquidity, plus $500,000 or something. I'm not sure what the listing fee is. But look at this thing.
I know it went up, right? It's 10x. If you bought here, it's up 3x. I wonder if you can actually look at the. Ooh, let's see what the distribution is. This would be actually a fun. I've thought about doing this. Pick a coin every week, just at the recommendation of other people, maybe ones that are new coins, and go through give them a once over of what would we look at? What would be the tokenomics? What would be the important things to understand about it? I don't know. There's a lot that goes on in the Solana world, and there's the farming and the lockups and all that shit that's very hard to know all the ins and outs of where these coins could be distributed. But if you look at holders here of Fart Coin, and these can be broken up, 10 different people can have 10 different wallets so it looks like it's 10 individuals, but it's actually more than that. But this actually could be worse.
Could be worse. Pumped Off Fun. It's pretty fun.
What's that?
This was created on Pumped Off Fun. You see the tags? So it's a meme, and it's tagged with Pumped Off Fun. That's a fun website. My God.
So yeah, just much like the Bitcoin addresses. Keep in mind there's people that can seriously dump on you and get millions. All these people can be millionaires if they choose to sell. And I don't know, and it always goes back to why would people continue to hold? Solana's made this way too easy.
Yeah, and Pumped Off Fun even worse. I mean, I don't get.
So you mentioned bots earlier. So you could realistically create. I mean, take Luke Wright. He's a good example of a guy who went out and bought. He's mining with phones, right? So he's got banks of hundreds of phones. So just imagine somebody who is able to create hundreds of accounts on X, hundreds of accounts in Solana, so they look like unique entities, and they can collectively manipulate everything that's going on. There's no cost to do this, or very little cost. I mean, there's obviously some labor involved and some coordination, but you get 5 people together that have access to creating 100 accounts each, 200 accounts each. It can really impact a coin, because you go, well, here, there's 1 billion of them. But if each of you have accounts with 4 million, we each have 200 accounts at 2, 3, 4, 5 million coins in it, you start accumulating a large portion of this supply. And you can wash trade among each other to manipulate.
How much money does it actually take to do that?
Nothing. There's no fees. That's the thing. There's no fees, and there's very little friction. And so it's so easily gamed. And every cycle you think, aren't we over this yet? But it's like everybody has to have that couple of bear markets behind them before they realize, like, okay, if I'm going to be serious and I'm very interested in, I think that there's a future to cryptocurrency, the major players are going to look at the ones and go, which ones aren't susceptible to all this? And obviously one of those is Litecoin. So,
and I mean, so who was it that was, I keep coming back, the why Litecoin's interview with Charlie yesterday was pretty good. And at some point, they're talking about market cap and how relevant it is, right? Where if you look at Litecoin, for example, and its market cap of 9 billion, and how all these coins have been already pretty well evenly distributed, right? Like how there's no founder stash. So basically, the market cap is its distributed liquidity versus something like XRP. When you look at the market cap, it looks pretty big, but then you come to realize that half of these tokens are still being held by the XRP treasury, right? By the creators. So how is market cap a good measure of a coin's value if you can have half of it being counted when it's not really in the market, right? And potentially if you can add more to it, if you just create another airdrop, right? Like with some of these tokens, market cap becomes kind of like a shell game, right? And it's not a real clear indicator as to the value of a certain ecosystem.
It manipulates the thinking. It manipulates the mindset of the customer. They go, oh man, look at this thing. This is a legitimate coin. You know,
and people look at coin market cap and they look at the top 20 and they're like, damn, these are some great coins. It's top 20 over here. But yeah, it's misleading.
So what do you think about, let's say Michael Saylor accumulates 10% of the Bitcoin supply. And we know that we just talked about 16% is frozen. It hasn't moved in 10 years. And you start saying, okay, how much of the market cap can he control before it starts to become a problem? It scares investors away. Like, hold on, this dude could just literally destroy the market, cut it. He could send the price of Bitcoin. Michael Saylor came out and said, whatever, we've had a good run. I'm concerned about quantum computing and it's a fatal flaw. And I've decided to unload all my coins. Even if he sold beforehand, kind of like Charlie did, sold and then came out and made the announcement that this is what he was going to do, where would the price go?
Yeah, probably down.
How far down?
Cause a lot of fear.
Back to like 15.
Well,
grand?
especially since he's such like a staple in the community. Like he is, a lot of people refer to Michael and look at Michael's I guess his talking points on Bitcoin, and they believe him, right? So if he is no longer believing in his own rhetoric, I think a lot of institutions, a lot of users will also dump. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Or better yet,
it is an interesting argument.
What if he dies?
Yeah, if he dies, and then the shareholders sell, right? What happens then?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Can you put something in his will, like a manifesto or something for MicroStrategy, guaranteeing that they won't sell?
I don't know what happened to his shares when he dies. I don't know that because he doesn't have any heirs. But it could end up in some nephew or something.
Well, he said he was gonna take him to the grave, right? So
he's gonna take his Bitcoin to the grave. I don't think I don't know that it's legal to take your shares in MicroStrategy to the grave. I don't.
Right. He's got his own Bitcoin stash too, right? And he's got MicroStrategy stash. So I think he himself has quite a large stash of Bitcoin. So he's probably taking those to the grave with him. Personally, yeah. And I would be surprised if he never sold any of his own personal Bitcoin. Like, how does he pay for shit?
He sells MicroStrategy shares.
Yeah, that's it. He's just taking everything's on loan, right? Like he's just up to his neck in debt.
Well, I'm hoping next week. Paul didn't make it this week. I don't know. We just talked to him yesterday, so I'm surprised at that. But maybe something came up. I'm working on a guy next week that we had agreed at one point to have a meeting. So I'm hoping, and I think will shed some light on MicroStrategy. He wants to talk about strategic Bitcoin reserve. His name's George Selgin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to call him a Bitcoin hater. I think he's a Bitcoin realist, a crypto realist. He understands the Fed. He understands gold and these larger world markets that I think he gives an accurate take. I think the strategic Bitcoin reserve is it may happen. I mean, I don't know what that would mean though. I just think it's such a strange, to sit here and say you're going to announce a sale or to announce a buy is just that in and of itself is going to manipulate the market up, which just makes it even more expensive for you to get in. So
yeah,
I could see them saying that we're just going to take these confiscated coins and keep those as our reserve, and that's all we're going to do. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens because I think it's like 300,000 coins or something, which is ample. I mean, if it becomes what everybody thinks it's going to become, $10 million a coin or whatever the heck it is, then 300,000 is plenty.
Yeah.
So
I'd be worried that incentivizes law enforcement to go after Bitcoiners, to target Bitcoiners specifically, if the only way they can get it is by seizing them, for civil forfeiture, right?
Yeah,
Could start that kind of a precedent.
BlackRock's got, how much does BlackRock have? 1 million? Or the ETFs collectively have 1 million Bitcoin, I think.
I don't know. I think MicroStrategy has the most still.
Let's see. Come on.
And MicroStrategy.
The ETF funds now hold more than 1.1 million Bitcoin. So that'd be an easy way to acquire them, right? You just give people the dollar amount equivalent and just say, what's that old video game? All your base
would belong to us.
Yeah, all your base belong to us.
Yeah, so US spot ETFs have more Bitcoin than Satoshi now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, the ETFs, I think, are just representations of individuals. They're just trusting a custodian, but they are susceptible to the things you're talking about. MicroStrategy and ETFs could be a very easy way for the government to acquire Bitcoin if they felt like they just find, you made a mistake on your taxes last year, and so we're going to hold your Bitcoin until you rectify the situation or something, right?
We'll send you to prison for 109 years while you figure it out.
That'll be a dark day, man. Roger Ver goes to prison, doing everything he felt, making every effort he could to comply with the law. And that for 10 years, they didn't do anything to him. And he writes a book and then goes to jail. That'd be pretty dark.
That is lawfare at its finest, man. You know what? It's like that. What was on those bill of casings? Deny, defend, something.
Defund, deny, and delay. I think.
Delay. Whatever. This is one of those D's. It's the defend one, or just putting the guy in prison. Pretty much like killing him.
Like Ross Ulbricht, there were accusations of him like coordinating, whether true or not, I don't know, but coordinating
those hits.
Yeah. And so if that was what he was found guilty, I don't know the details of the case, how much that factored into Dread Pirate Roberts or whatever. There I could say, okay, maybe that is a reasonable, if it wasn't just, he wasn't just found guilty of the running the marketplace. If he was, ordering hits on people, that's a totally different animal. But, if Roger Vere's is just, you didn't pay what you were supposed to pay, you did everything in your power to pay what you're supposed to pay, and here's what you owe, and he's open to paying back what he's supposed to pay back, and they're still talking about putting him in jail. That's fucking crazy. Yeah. Flat out. So
meanwhile, they didn't even convict SBF of of all the money he donated, right? There's like two parts to his trial where like the second part, if they were to go through with it, they would have to had clawed back all the donations he made to political persons, and they didn't go ahead with that. They're like, oh, these funds have been commingled already, and it's just a whole rotten system. Honestly, they get away with whatever they want. I'm hoping to see that things change dramatically in the next 4 years. Of course, there's a possibility that nothing changes.
Yeah.
And that this kind of nonsense continues. But hey, you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
be hopeful to some degree.
Well, let's. I'm good wrapping this up. Sorry, Paul. If Paul comes back, we'll be happy to have him in. Like I said, we're trying to get George. I will say this every week and still have not put anything on the calendar, but Thorchain is another one that I want to. I'm in communication with the guy at least. I just keep forgetting to actually get something on the calendar. So watch us tonight.
Oh, about Thorchain. Can I just plug this real quick? This whole API integration with cointracker.io. Let me just share this tab here. Maybe people can, because I you know what? I like it when it's easy to do my taxes. And there's this whole thing where you can integrate this is CoinTracker. I use them to do my taxes. They do a really good job of consolidating all my trades and whatever withdrawals. I can essentially extract some PDFs and give it to my accountant, and they look over my trades and double check everything. They don't have to do any work really. They just read over these results, and this stuff does a whole bunch of calculations in the background where, like, you know, it tracks the price of certain assets at the time that you traded them and whatnot. Makes it there's no room for error at all. But yeah, I have like some Litecoin and Doge in a savers account on Thorchain, which I've been, you know, making a little bit of interest on, and I'd love to know. I'd love to be able to do that automatically, not have to go through it manually. I'm not even sure I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to find the average price of Litecoin and Doge every freaking day.
That's right.
Manually? Fuck that. Oh, come on. You guys, please upvote this. I mean,
this is
it's
to
got
get it
37
integrated,
votes. Right. It hasn't been integrated yet. And they're saying, like, listen, if you want to integrate it, upvote it, comment, you know, we need eyeballs on this. We need this number should probably go up to around 50 before they reopen this integration request. I'd love to see that happen before April 2025. Hint, hint. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do this the hard way, and I'm not looking forward to it. You know
just real quick, I know because there's we're gonna sign off here in a second, but I was looking at Coinbase as you were talking, and AMP just went up 20% in like 10 minutes.
Well, what are they doing over there?
I don't know.
We should talk to Johnny about this, because I spoke with some of the guys at the summit about AMP, and you know, I had no idea what they were working on. And honestly, I'll be honest, I was a little skeptical. I was a little bit skeptical.
Well, they were hot issue. There's something coming out with that guy, that Michael. See, this is where you got to pay attention to Twitter constantly. The guy that created that wallet that was like he's been talking about for a while. You know, I'm talking about not Flexo wallet, something like that.
Nexus. You talking about Nexus wallet?
Yeah. It's some sort of integration with Litecoin and AMP. Maybe that went live or something. It says, "Don't fear Friday the 13th." I don't know, but I think there's some kind of integration going on. Maybe they had an announcement of an agreement. Man, you got to be on top of your game in this world. What is happening?
There's so much happening all the time. Yeah, just in the Bitcoin space, there's so much happening, and then like you look at other stuff. I think this Nexus wallet is going to have MWeb, right? It looks like it's got.
As far as I know, that's what I'm excited about. Well, I don't know what's going on. It's already coming back down to earth a little bit. So I don't know if it was just a random pump, but volume's going through the roof. It's going crazy. Through the roof. But if it has to do with AMP and Litecoin, where the hell's our pump?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's end it. It was a good show. I hopefully we'll have a guest next week. And yeah, if you guys have something you want to play, like I've always wanted like a song or something you think would be cool for us to listen to, or you want to share something, or you write an article or something you want us to read about, or a topic you want us to cover, just message me and say like, hey, check this out. Because that's probably the hardest thing, is having a 9-to-5, having a family, is like filtering through what would be interesting. And, you know, my eyeballs only see what my eyeballs see. So if you get another angle and you want us to talk about it, I'm intrigued by weird shit. So, but not too weird. All right. Well, everybody have a good week. Poker tonight, and maybe Animal will be there. I should probably be there, and I'm going to take all your money. Animal, have a good one. See you next Saturday, man.
Take care, guys.